This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to call the regular January 18th, 2022 council meeting to order at 7 p.m. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the flag for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
with liberty and justice for all.
We're all of them. What's going on? Oh,
I'm always quiet, but then when I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep going.
I apologize if I made the mistake. Okay. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
Yeah, so I have two, like the document that I submitted to you guys to go under unfinished business A. So the Clatsop sewer main relocation. And then just one little tweak to new business A. I would like you to also try and schedule, the sheriff would like to do a proposal to you guys on police service. So I'd like you to schedule the downtown trees work session, but then also a work session for the Columbia County Sheriff. And that's it.
And that's under new business then.
Yep.
Okay.
10A needs the sheriff added.
Any other additions or corrections? If not, would anyone like to make a motion to accept the agenda for tonight with those two additions?
We'll move, Mr. Mayor.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second. Sorry.
Thank you, Counselor Ash. Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Counselor Norman,
Aye.
Counselor Allen,
Aye.
Counselor Ash,
Aye.
Mayor Hobart,
Aye.
Counselor Lutz, motion carried.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any presentations tonight?
No.
None. Mayor's report. The only thing I have is just to, we're right in the middle or towards the tail end of the Omicron virus, and there's been a lot of infections here locally in the last month. And so just asking everyone to be careful. I mean, we could all get through this. And of course, the school has gone mostly virtual now till the end of the month. And so, yeah, we're all in this together. So just to take extra caution and I like to always say, if you're sick, stay home. It's just that simple. So, and Donnie, I'll try to remember you're on the other end of the line. So hope you feel better soon. So I'll move right into the Citizen of the Month recognition. And that was Counselor Webb's pick for this month of January. So I'll turn it over to you, Counselor Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Rick reminded me that these people would be a good pick, although they were on my radar. So, and quite frankly, we've had some discussions in council about the good deeds that some of our citizens have been doing up in the community. And so that's why I'm going to pick for my Citizen of the Month, Dawn Hummel and Wendy Livingood. I had a ringside seat seeing their goodwill over in the school parking lot. And it's like, there's this red pickup out there with a snowplow. I mean, in Vernonia, where did this come from? Nobody has a snowplow. And he's over there helping Mark Brown and Wendy. And that was last year. And then this year, same thing happened again. And I think there's a few places here and there getting plowed around town. And then I also heard this year there was a gentleman outside of our community that needs to have his food delivered and people couldn't deliver because of the snow conditions. And Don and Wendy were contacted and they went out and plowed out the driveway so the man could get his food. So Don, when I called him on the phone, he reminded me that he actually helped build the school. He was with the contractor that built the school. I think you guys moved here in '08, I think you said?
It was a year after the big flood, the last big flood.
Yeah, '08, and went through the construction of the school, moved away for a few years, came back in 15, something like that. And been members of our community ever since, so. Yeah, I mean, snow doesn't get us very often, but when it does, it can really affect everybody, and we all kind of scramble how we're going to handle that. I think council still got some, and staff have some legwork to do on that, and see if we can't make ourselves a little more effective, although I think we are getting where we'll maybe have a couple of rigs maybe in the future. But so anyhow, it's an honor to present you guys. And I hear we had a printer issue, so you got a colorized version of the Citizen of the Month Award. It's my honor to present Citizen of the Month to Don and Wendy. Don Hummel and Wendy Livingston. And we got to get this picture for the paper.
Yeah, he wants me to send a pic, so smile pretty under the mask. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'll go under because I step on it, I'll probably take it out. I already warned them they could leave, but.
Thanks again for all your help. And
You know, it's just, so the whole file thing, she's actually the one that our neighbor, his brother passed away, and his brother was a retired state policeman out in Nevada.
I had a truck.
And he passed away, and so he got the truck with the plow on it. And Wendy saw it, and she says, I want that snow plow. And I said, well, that's funny, because I want the truck.
So we sold my truck.
oh, yeah.
Left the truck and the plow. So, yeah. Didn't work out quite how I planned when I sent the picture.
Thanks what not only you did in this big one we had this year, but last year you pushed a lot of snow and burned up a lot of fuel.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of like a kid with a new toy.
yeah,
Just a bigger version, that's all. We have fun doing
it's
it.
kind of fun.
Yeah, and we just like helping people.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well,
and in a small town like this, everybody does their part, you know, we can all get along together.
that's why it makes it a lot better place to live. Thank you again. Moving right into council committee reports.
I think Parks is planning on doing a virtual meeting.
Oh, okay.
So they should be sending us a link to whatever platform they're going to host that on. For us to put on the calendar.
Okay, I have one to report, the senior board.
Oh, good.
And I attended it last Friday at 10 a.m. And in fact, I was voted in as the last board member. I'm a part of their board now. And so things are, they did open the dining hall for in-person meals. And they take place on Wednesday and Friday. Next month, they're going to open it up 3 days a week. You still have to make a reservation. I think there's a limit of 40. There's 10 tables and 40 each table. But it's good to be back in-person dining with that. Big thank you from the board to Josette for the work you did in installing the baffles in the kitchen. It really made a difference.
Oh, good.
And so I think in the near future, they're going to put baffles in the food bank side to help with the refrigeration noise there. And they have and again, they have the electrical work done on the generator. That's in your, I see that's in your staff report.
Yeah, we're waiting for, Felton's has a scheduled, but they were pushed out to do the gas line.
Hook up the gas line. But anyway, it was a good meeting. So moving ahead, yeah. That's all I have to report on the seniors from the senior group. So.
Josette, do you know about the cemetery?
I actually talked to the cemetery committee, 2 of the members today. They've been unable to get a hold of you, probably because they're using your city hall email. So I sent them your work email, since that seems to be what you're using anyways, in your cell phone, so they can get a hold of you.
Okay, because I've been waiting to hear from them. I haven't seen any meeting minutes come through.
It's because the meeting minutes I have to check into, but they haven't been able to get a hold of you because they sent it to the city email. So that's why.
May I give him my phone number? I didn't give him my phone number a long time ago. I don't know.
Change of hands, I don't know.
Okay.
I just sent it back out to them today, actually.
So I saw a little weird look from Counselor Webb about them giving us the link.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could see that through the map.
Yeah, it's all in the eyebrows, Dale.
Oh.
So we were hosting all the committee meetings, but that requires staff to be here at City Hall and then sit through the entire meeting, which isn't staff time we typically spend unless staff's reporting about something. So we've asked the committees that want to do it virtually to just host it. Most of the platforms have a free component, and send us the link so we can let the public know how to access it. But we're not coming down here, setting up their meeting, pushing record, and then sitting here for 2 hours and then closing, It just ended up being a lot of hours for Stephanie sitting at meetings that she wasn't reporting at. So they seem to be okay with that they're just going to do Zoom or one of those and then just send us the link.
You're talking parks still, right?
Yeah.
I have a paid Zoom account and I'm very proficient at it if they want.
Yeah, I mean, you could offer it. I think Jana said she had.
Jenna or Kim have one.
Yeah.
With Zoom.
Yeah, so they were going to host it.
Yeah.
But there was a kind of long string of emails.
Like scrambling to try to figure 1 hour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so they were kind of confused and like the city wouldn't let them have a virtual meeting. No, you may have one. We just aren't going to host it and have staff sitting at City Hall every night for, 5 nights a month.
For 3 months.
Yeah.
Would that be posted on the city calendar then? So anybody,
Link, yeah.
The link to the cemetery committee meetings is actually on the city calendar. You click on the cemetery committee
Meeting.
then it'll have the link there.
Yeah.
okay. So that's what they want to do.
We'll put out any link they send us. We're just not going to be here in person hosting it.
Yep.
I just thought the city had a setup that would be a host without having a person. It would just,
No, you can't do it remotely that way and then we can't just let them use ours without one of us here because it has executive sessions on there and stuff. Because it's kind of our internal little box of
Okay.
goodies that we don't want to just hand over
it's
access.
actually got discoverable stuff in it.
Right.
Okay. Is that all the committee meeting reports? Moving on to any topics from the floor tonight?
I received none.
Okay. Consent agenda for acceptance. Consent agenda for approval. City council meeting minutes for December 20th, 2021. City council meeting minutes for January 3rd, 2022. Any discussion or questions about these 2 meeting minutes?
I guess the only question I'd have, and I think it's on the second one. Yeah, the deer issue, said I was going to be working with staff. So,
Oh, I know. And then we kind of didn't work together. I mean, the deer,
yeah,
yeah.
so, yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought we were,
Well, police, Chief was going to look into, and I don't know where he's at with it. Can we maybe give someone approval to fire in the city limits? And then we were talking about less gun-like measures with like a bolt gun or something like that, that would do it quickly and not be just kind of vulgar to watch or have someone see.
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of stalled out on my end.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it wasn't like an emergency.
So we just don't want to forget it. Yeah.
I was just like, okay, well, maybe I need to be more involved, start pushing or
Yeah.
calling but I thought there was some legal aspects that we wanted to get answered before.
Yeah, before we kind of propose, we
Yeah.
appoint someone, yeah.
So I guess that still clarifies it.
Yeah,
for me.
I'll put it on the action items list to not lose it, Dale.
Okay.
Anything else on these 2 meeting minutes? Anyone like to make a motion to accept these 2 meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve both the minutes from December 20th, 2021 and from January 3rd, 2022.
I'll second that.
And
We're gonna
move
go
to
ahead and let you guys take care of your business.
Okay,
Have a good night.
nice meeting you. Motion's been made and seconded. Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Counselor Allen?
Aye.
Counselor Ash?
Aye.
Counselor Webb?
Aye.
Counselor Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Counselor Norman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving into unfinished business. A,
Sorry, I'm trying to put it on silent, giving me notifications. Okay, so this one's from Angie and I, but Angie's not here, so I'm presenting. So you guys had asked us to come back to you with the 3 estimates to see if we could use ARPA funds for Clatsop, the Maple Street sewer lining, and Lakeview. So we don't have a formal estimate for Maple Street or a finished estimate for Lakeview, but we did get the final bids back for Clatsop, and it's amazingly cheaper than the other one, the other ones that we got. So we didn't want to stall this contractor, so that's why we're bringing it to you here tonight. To see if we could use $62,251.33 for the Clatsop sewer main relocation project. And then we did include the breakdown of what we've spent so far. We started with this allocation was $250,179.64. You got,
Just brought some.
oh.
oh my gosh.
So you guys approved 10,000 going to Columbia Economic Team for the business center. The journal, why it says vendor journal entry, because that's the waiving of the fees for Jamboree. Dude Solutions for the 3-year contract or 3-year, 3-year contract. Webfoot Concrete was the 4,000 you approved for topping off the Anderson Park fix. There was 5,000 in the budget that was already slated for that project, so 9,000 is what that total came to in the budget with this funds. And then we did the ironwork and gate for the courtyard at Blue House for more outdoor public seating. The 3 that say approved, not yet invoice, those are things you guys have approved, but we've not been charged yet, but I still minus them from a total to give us a clear picture. Then we have the texting platform for public notice alerts or reporting of potholes, issues, water main breaks. That's TextMyGov. Speed Avenue storm upgrade is LIDA. We've already approved that that's who we're going with and did the notice to award. So the second most reasonable excavating and installation we got was from Peel Excavating. And he went over the plans, asked lots of questions, went up and looked at the site and gave us a bid, and it's roughly like $70,000 cheaper than the other person. But I think some people look at a job and if it looks troublesome, they throw a huge number at it to see if it'll stick. But
So we still have to pay to get the logs removed.
yeah, we'll still pay a logging firm to get them out. Yeah.
We'll have some cost.
Has a little bit of cost, so we're really only going to have, he does have a little cost in here, $1,000 to move the logs to the end of Fifth Avenue. So he's willing to, when he's doing his prep work, pull them down to the end.
I was just going to ask,
Also,
he's got the,
he's gonna move the logs down to where we can get a hold
Yes,
of them.
Cool.
We'll just have to hire a truck to.
to move them to Ebert's.
good.
And we're working with legal to get in touch with Mr. Ebert's. He's still not responded since the 22nd. So Ruben sent an email, I've sent an email, and we've contacted his attorney to, I just need a spot, just a flag in the ground. It's not going to be hard.
So his costs, I suppose there's rock backfill and stuff included.
Yeah, so I didn't give you a copy because
You
it,
got the manholes in the pipe, right?
yeah, so he has on here mobilization, clear and grub, haul stumps, so he's pulling the stumps that are in the project area, and brush to disposal, move the logs into Fifth. Then he has the installation of the pipe with rock backfill. Then he has a section of it that's installation of pipe with native backfill, the manhole with native backfill, connecting to it existing, and testing. So all the parts that were in the engineered drawing.
So this is no materials. This is just him installing.
Yeah, we own the materials already.
Except for the rock.
And how many feet is it?
It ends up being,
100 or something?
no, it ends up being, the linear feet is about 490 linear feet.
Twice.
So it's like 2 city block lengths, basically.
It's pretty silent in there too.
Now, is it gonna, when they install the manhole, is that gonna be sealed with the good grout and everything?
Yeah, so he'll install the manhole with all the good grout, and then they'll have to test it to make sure there's no infiltration and it's not leaking sewer or anything. So we've done that on other sewer we require testing of new sewer.
Did he give you a timeline when he could start?
He did not give me a timeline. Let me see if it says. No, there isn't a timeline on here. I was thinking maybe he had a start work date on here, but.
So what's our city position with the landowner and everything when we need to get that done for him?
So with Mr. Seapley?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's placed the order for his manufactured home. It is not slated to get here till end of March, April for it to be placed. So he's done the work up on his site. So the structure won't even be coming in January or February.
Yeah, he'll be doing site work probably late February, early March. Then.
Yeah, he hasn't really messed with it since he removed the other home because there was a home that existed there and it kind of stuck into Clatsop. He's removed that home and the shed. And now he just has a pole barn, but he's got the site for his.
So is he gonna be hooking into the new line then?
He is.
And we're gonna dig up the old line? Is it under his house footprint?
So, yeah, so there's 2 options. One, we'll abandon that section from 6th where it unhooks to where it hooks on 4 or on 5th. We'll abandon that section and then potentially pull it up at a drier time of year, not try and pull it out of there. Because his home is up on 6th. Then he owns the lot that's being cut and he wants to develop it, but that's not happening. Doesn't have it listed. I mean, it's not happening immediately. He doesn't have it listed. There's not a buyer. There's not someone ready
The
to.
new home's not going down on 5th.
No, he just wants to sell that lower lot. Once his home is in place up at the top lot, he wants to sell the lower lot that his old home was connected to that also cuts the lower part of his property.
So my next question on that, Josette, would be if we can't dig the hole to put the new pipe in, how are we going to dig the hole to take the old pipe out?
What do you mean dig the new? I'm not following.
Well, I thought it was deep and we didn't have the equipment and stuff. And you talked about digging up later. Or is Phil going to dig it up later? Or?
No, it's not deep on where it cuts his property. That's a very shallow manhole that it connects to.
Leaving it in the right of way, but just take across his property
Yes,
and remove it.
because it's just that section where it clips his property that it's any sort of developmental problem. And most likely, depending on where they're cutting out for the footprint or the driveway, they'd probably dig into it anyway, but in the future, but we'll just remove that section of it.
We're going to self-perform that.
Yeah. So once it's decommissioned and nothing's running through it and it's not going to make a horrible muddy mess, we can just pop it out.
How do they decommission it? You use sewer line, you have to flush it and certify it with DEQ to pull it out?
Well, typically, if you leave them in the ground, you're not doing that flushing. If you are pulling it out, you have to dispose of it properly. So depending on what it's made out of, you might have to wrap it and take it to a landfill and get a receipt that says I got rid of this asbestos pipe the right way. Or if it's, take it to the lagoons and flush it into the lagoon. And then for the most part, those smaller lines, if we send enough water down it ahead of decommissioning it, it shouldn't have anything in the pipe in the bottom. But it just depends on what the makeup of it is. I want to say up there, it is concrete asbestos. So chances are we'd probably just bag it and haul it. Because the 6th Street up where Mr. LaChapelle lived, that same line that was causing Mr. LaChapelle the problem when the roots kind of broke the top of the pipe and then dirt would fall in and make a little mountain in the line. It was like a little mountain that the debris the sewer kept hitting. That whole section was concrete asbestos. And when we did the fix on that, we snapped it and left it in place.
There's quite a bit of concrete ductile up there on Corey Hill.
I don't know what the makeup of all of it is. I just know that the line on 6 from that manhole that would be the same line if I look down the road is concrete asbestos.
I'm kind of curious how much leakage we're getting on that for I&I.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the maps and then correlate them. Look at what they found it coming out of the ground and correlate with what we know the material is. And we don't know what everything is. We know where it's general areas that when they were developed, what was in use at the time. If it isn't mapped out on sewer master plans, but I think we'll find concrete asbestos, which is almost the easiest because then you don't have to do anything. You just visqueen it, tape it all up, put it in the dump truck, and you don't want to cut it and aerate any of those fibers.
Do they have to have asbestos certification to work with the material?
No, not as far as public works goes. It's just you have to be masked and full mask when you're rolling it. And if you have to snap it, there's a certain tool you have to snap it with so it doesn't, you're not sawing it and making all those fibers. It's like looks like one of those old chains that you'd grab both ends and do this to. But you basically score it, put this chain thing around it, and it just snaps it. Almost like sheetrock. Like when you break sheetrock, you score one side and then it snaps.
Okay.
So if we find that, then that'll probably be the easier one to dig up and remove and wrap up and dispose of properly. But we thought we'd bring it to you since we got a great bid, and if he's gung ho to get us on his schedule and you guys are for it, then we wanted to not wait 2 more weeks to February before we brought it to you guys.
Did we have a completion date on this contract?
No, because we aren't scheduled yet.
Okay.
And then he'll have to sign the basically small works. It's not over 250,000 where you're going out for the big, huge project. So it's a small works contract. Ruben's finalizing that and updating, making sure everything's right on that for him to sign. If that's what you choose. We're just getting that set up because we figure we'll have a lot more of these kind of smaller works contracts. So we want Ruben to work diligently in getting us one that will last a while so we can just use it readily instead of tweaking it for each job.
Is this Peel Excavating right down on Sunset Highway there?
Yes,
I've worked with those guys before at McMinnville and they did a pretty good job. So
yeah.
they're not as small as you think.
No, they're big.
Oh, no, I didn't say there's,
I know, but you just, I mean, you hear the name because we all know the name Peel.
Yeah.
They're a decent sized construction firm.
oh, yeah.
And they're coming in, it looks like $136 a foot on 490 feet. So
I'm okay with it.
Have you looked at it up there?
no,
Yeah, the stumps in the sideline pretty good, so they're gonna have to excavate the road.
yeah.
To keep, I don't think they can work on.
Is it going to be a big muddy mess where they can't do it till late spring or
Well, it
something?
depends on the weather. I
He
think
didn't
right now you
like that. He acted like he was, I think they work in that all the time.
Yeah,
And it might benefit them a little bit that 6 isn't finished at the top.
Yeah.
So they could clear out and use that as their kind of ugly turnaround because there's nothing but trees and brush there right now. 6 kind of runs into the forest, you know?
So I do have one more question, and I'm not trying to be a pain, but usually you have to have a stormwater runoff plan for erosion and have some kind of a control method because we've got probably people up there that would say something if you had turned it into mud running down.
Oh, no, definitely the lower end where it hits 4th, we will be doing all of that.
It'll be fixed.
Bottles and,
Are we taking care of that or is it in?
no, so,
They'll have to do it.
yeah. So
that little headwater of the creek there.
let me see if it was,
It's even in our public works standard. If
They'll have to get it drained and erosion.
yeah, they'll have to get all the permitting, so,
And through our engineer.
yeah. So it's not going to be,
It's probably, Robert put together the plans, didn't he?
yeah, and I think it's all in there. I'm just looking to see if Matt put it here.
It won't be a very expensive item, so it might not be itemized in there.
Yeah, it's not itemized in here. No, but that's all part of Lower Columbia Engineering did the plans, so all of it says per this, this is, and then grading and erosion, that'll be A number 1. You'll have to put wattles down and I think it's really the lower end, because really you're not, anything in the section, no one's going to be affected. It will be as the water gathers to that low point, we'll have to be taking care of it there. And the engineers will approve whatever permitting that is. Could be good.
Yeah, it's not gonna go into anybody's yard up there.
No.
It's all gonna go to that draw. It goes anywhere, so.
Right.
Anyone like to make a motion to have direct staff to use the ARPA funds to fund $62,251.33 for the Clatsop Sewer Main Relocation Project?
I'll make the motion. I move that city council direct staff to use ARPA funds in the amount of $62,251.33 for the Clatsop Sewer Main Relocation Project.
Thank you, Counselor Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Counselor Ash seconded. Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Counselor Ash,
Aye.
Counselor Webb,
Aye.
Counselor Normand,
Aye.
Mayor Hobart,
Aye.
Counselor Allen.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving into new business, staff report, council scheduling a downtown trees work session.
So this came out of our special meeting. It's getting a date on the calendar to discuss the downtown trees, the surveys and all the documents that go with that. And then also I want you guys to pick a date when you could meet to have a work session with Columbia County Sheriff Brian Pixley. He wants to go over a proposal for staffing the police department.
And I wanted to just give you guys a note to remind you that you'll likely have more sidewalk frontage requirement work sessions. So keep those in mind.
After your one next Monday,
after
Right.
24th.
continuation.
We do not have any meetings on the 31st, just to make everyone aware.
Right.
When is spring break for,
For us is the 21st through the 5th, right?
Of March.
Of March.
Sure.
Yeah.
1st through 25th?
Mm-hmm.
Did
So-
you find out?
Don't think you want to meet on Valentine's Day.
I was just looking at that. No,
I'm okay with March 9th. It's a ways out, but give people time to plan. You probably out of state the last week of February.
Oh,
I can do the 9th.
You want to do that one for the sheriff's presentation or downtown trees?
Probably should get the sheriff one first. I know he wants to get that in before budget stuff, right?
I think he had,
Chief, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
I meant to ask you this. Did Sheriff Pixley have a date proposed?
I think
Mayor Hobart.
when we met last time, it was we were talking about the first part of March. So I think March 9th would be a good day for it.
March 9th.
Mm-hmm.
That works for Donna.
Okay.
Not saying anything.
So is everyone available March 9th at 6:30 for a workshop with the sheriff?
That's a Wednesday night,
Yep.
6:30. Counselor Norman, able to make that meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So downtown trees, we have yet to designate.
How about March 30th?
I could do that.
Yeah, it'd be good to get whatever you're going to do in February and March because then we go into budget in April.
Budget starts in April.
She's going to bring the budget calendar, Angie is, to the next meeting, the proposed budget calendar. So March 30th, is that what you guys said?
What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Any conflicts?
For downtown trees, is everyone available? Okay,
I'm good.
both at 6:30.
Did you hear that, Counselor Norman? Downtown trees discussion, March 30th.
I will be available.
Okay.
Okay,
Then that could leave February for sidewalk talk.
yeah, the continuation, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on what comes out of next Monday.
Right on that.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
All right. Moving right into business from departments. Chief Connor.
Good evening. I don't have a lot tonight. My usual report for December, we had 131 calls for service. Code enforcement ended December with 34 open violations for code. Counselor Ash and I had a short ride along. Hopefully I was able to answer some questions. She didn't talk a whole lot. Maybe we'll get a better one in next time. It wasn't super busy. It wasn't super busy for us, so she didn't get to experience any service calls, as with the rest of my ride-alongs that kind of have occurred in the past. But better luck next time. That's all I got.
Any questions for the chief?
I do. Yeah, Chief Connor, do you have an update on the vandalism in Spencer Park as far as the juveniles where that case is going?
Josette and I are actually going to talk about that case tomorrow. I know she recently got a notice from the court, so I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but where it's coming to a head, I think.
Okay.
It looks like they've scheduled hearings for February
Hmm.
for that.
Okay.
We're going to discuss that tomorrow. He wasn't in office today.
Any other questions for the chief?
Any update on any update, chief, on the applicants?
We are still stagnant at 1.
Pretty soon that one will get a different job.
If it hasn't happened already.
Is there another source of advertising you can switch to, or I don't know where you advertise, but I saw it posted on city website.
Yeah, and we're on the state page as well at this point. So it's where a lot of the certified people and even other people looking for just local law enforcement jobs will find the openings throughout the state. I think we'll probably want to discuss that more in the workshop, maybe in March. Not that I really want to wait that long, but we might have some other ideas.
Okay.
Thank you, chief. Okay. Any ordinances or resolutions? Nope. Any correspondence?
No.
None. City administrator report.
So this one's kind of short and sweet since I did sit across from you guys and go over all the projects in the city recently. So they're scheduled to fix the windows in February, sooner if possible. Their schedule opens up. The hearing, as I said, for that defendant had been postponed again. And the DA's office said they'll notify us when they do reschedule.
So they have the glass now, we're just waiting on availability for.
For the install, yeah. Acoustical paneling, we installed the one side on the senior center side, and then we're waiting. Mitch got pulled away to help Tim with a tree go down.
Saw that.
And then Public Works needed a little, they've been working, doing all the trenching for so the water line that went to the snack shack had a break under the highway. They're decommissioning that, so they're taking the water line from the Spencer bathrooms to the meter that's in the grass there. And if you've ever helped water the trees, you know there's a meter in the grass in front of where the high school was. In that same trench, the correct distance away from it, up top, is going the electrical conduit for the reader board, so they've been working on that. So Mitch didn't have a free day because to get a person in that little teeny space, it needs to be kind of the only thing you do in the day because you're getting up there and you need someone to hand you tools and not have to climb up and down off those walk-ins. So we're planning to do the food bank the next day. They're not open, that Mitch is free, which I'm hoping is this week, might be beginning of next week. We're still waiting on the gas line to get connected to the generator. We told Felton's it's kind of like ASAP, put us on the short list. We need this pretty simple service call because the gas line's piped right to the outside of the wall and the space is about 2 feet away from where they need to hook it up. So we said, turn and burn on that and get it hooked up so Power Systems Plus can come do the test, start up, and we can be ready for any future events. Yeah, other than the reader board I already talked to you about, do you guys have any questions of things, issues?
Well, on the Rose Avenue project. So I was on a walk and I just thought, well, I'll just look in the window and see if they got those in yet. And Toby and Larry were in there looking at them the moment I looked through the window. So Toby seen me, she came over and got me. And, you know, Toby is really happy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a noticeable, like she said, before you couldn't hardly carry a conversation on in the kitchen when they both kicked on.
yeah.
You can now. The only thing I see, and then the boys might try a test, and I assume you're going to go back over the decimal meter.
Yeah, we did. We got readings from that day and then I have readings from before and there was a noticeable difference. I believe it's at, well, maybe I could pull it up. I thought it was in the 50s now.
Oh, wow.
Or it was like 73 initially. Let me see if I can pull up the
Very good.
historic. But keep going with your question, Wayne.
The only thing I could see, I know they were talking about maybe putting in some like blinds or something in the serving holes there.
Yeah, just so it doesn't.
That would probably help a little more.
Yeah.
They said they wanted that for the staff wasn't getting bothered because people could see them all the time cooking.
Yeah, we talked about originally in the plans, those had a roll-up door like our,
Oh, yeah.
but that means you have this huge roll on the inside, metal and heavy for seniors to do. So that wasn't really going to work. So one of the things we were talking about is some sort of blind that has an acoustical feature in it, but that could be lowered when they're cooking. So people aren't staring in the window at the cooks and then raised up when you're doing your serving and you need it out of the way. Because all that stuff out there is so hard surface, people with hearing aids, it's bouncing off every table and chair and wall because there's nothing fabric. And we did talk about if it still becomes a problem, the same company will sell the art wrapped ones that we can hang on the wall like as a picture, or even get our own picture printed on fabric and wrap it, which could just further the baffling, basically.
The only other thought I had was, you know, those panels go right across the front. They basically were kind of like the idea of boxing it in, but they're just hanging there on hooks, just making a wall crossed, and there's a little gap here.
Yeah.
But on the right-hand corner, there's kind of an opening right there, right to it. Did you notice that when you're standing out in the dining area looking through the big serving window? You can look right up at the compressor. I'm wondering if one panel this way would take out even more. I mean,
So-
it'd be interesting for one of the guys just to hold one up there when it's running
Yeah.
and see if it makes it, would it be worth the investment to put one in there.
Yeah, or even get like a long, so so when you're in the dining room and you're looking back, it's the closest one to you that you can see.
Yeah, it's kind of, you can look right at the compressor there. There's like kind of on the corner.
It's probably because of how far out the baffles are from the actual compressor for airflow. Because they're not right up to those compressors,
No.
they're out. So it's probably that gap is what you're
Well,
saying.
yeah, it's right on that right-hand corner.
Yeah,
Because they'll stick out enough that there's a gap about that big. And I thought, you know, there's probably a little bit of sound coming through there.
yeah.
Maybe not, but
Well, and then we hung one above the exit door. And worst case, we have others, we could hang one above the other door. Because one option that was in the design was basically box it, right? And then hang one on those two doors. But when we were getting done, Sandy came in a couple times like, what is that noise? He's drilling into the wall with maulers and all that stuff. And we're like, sorry, we're still going to have to keep doing it. But that's another option. But yeah, we could definitely look into if that gap is.
yeah, I just
Letting out.
have one of those handles handy and
Yeah,
get out there in the room with the decimal meter and tell them, okay, stick that up there
yeah,
and see if you drop any more.
Yeah.
Worth the effort or not.
and then one of those, I think Toby has already scheduled it. And we told them, hey, when Felton's comes out for that, if they haven't done the generator, let's hold the guy hostage. But one of them is having a kick on cycle, like something needs to be
I
reset,
noticed that.
kicking on and kicking on.
It kicks on for a little bit, shuts right off.
Yeah, so
It kicks it for a bit and shut off.
there's some sort of,
I said, that don't sound right to me, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully solves their problems and
yeah. No, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
If you could go out in the dining area, and it was, other than the echoey in the room, it was easy to carry on conversation.
Right.
I had one other thing. So I'm a little confused on the ARPA funding expenses. I thought we allocated money to do the Corey, well, for not the Corey Hill, but all the.
Manhole lids.
After we did the smoke testing to buy the caps and
Yeah, so
where'd that come from? Where?
that's ARPA approved. We don't have prices on it. So I wasn't going to just leave question marks in the spreadsheet. So we went through the list of things you guys approved. Remember, some of them don't meet, so those are thrown out. So
But we need to kind of reserve some money.
yeah, you guys had $2,000 in there. I didn't, but we had 2,000
Oh, yeah.
is what you set aside for that. The other thing is we had 9,000 in there for the trailer, for the Connex. And Sean called me and said, don't buy the trailer. We got them donated. So there's,
Got to get that over the hill.
yeah, so there's about 2,000 that were, which is going to be high because at that point we were talking about actual lids and different mechanisms instead of plugging, we weren't going the cheaper route of plugging manholes or whatever.
But if we start going any fiber glassing up there, then we can spend some money pretty quick. So
Yeah. And then remember July, they'll be the next 203. So that probably would be more close to, I think you could safely, 65 is probably what you have left if we spend all of the 2,000 for the manhole lid fixes and the cases of caps.
I guess, I don't know, we never did decide if we were going to help with any of those laterals or not. So,
Yeah, that might be another work session.
yeah.
Look and see when that discuss.
The work.
No, work session, when we're going to discuss it. Didn't we talk about it?
You're asking me if we came up with a date for the work session?
No, there was like a rough time of the year. We were going to bring it back. I have to look.
Yeah, I think it's in the dry season because we weren't going to notice people until when we didn't want them having to dig. The time shouldn't start clicking away of their time to fix the problem until they can actually dig is what we talked about.
We set a date, October something.
Of 2023 or something. It was like, you gave it like months. Yeah.
2022.
22.
It was 22.
But that's not even a year.
I know. First we were
That
talking.
gives them all the dry season to get their work done.
Well, I thought you guys decided more than a year. I'm almost.
I was trying to cut it shorter and then finally we worked our way through it.
Yeah, I'll look into that, but I swear it's longer than a year in my brain. So timeline for sewer fixes, residential. Okay.
I don't remember the Text My Gov and the Dude Solutions was going to be coming out of the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it?
Yeah.
it's the only time we presented it to you guys was in ARPA meetings.
Okay. So it covers the first 3 years and after that it'll just be up to the departments to pay it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be integrated into the
Then I thought we added,
fees.
3 more thousand for more cameras for a skate park too out of the ARPA funds.
For Spencer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. That's also not on there because it's in the unknown. Unknown what it will actually cost us. I was talking with Counselor Webb today, but I talked to Chief about it. The hardwired versions are going to give you a great picture, but you're going to constantly be paying electricity and some sort of Wi-Fi signal, right? So there are cameras that are not the Verkada expensive ones, but are like a mountable, kind of a pop and play type camera that you can access on your phone, that one of our past officers is now running a security firm and he sells that type. So we're looking into those versions for Spencer, partly because Internet's on the other side of the street. So Zipley's saying it's expensive to get it on our side of the street to get the service. So we're trying to look at all the options before we pick one. But you did on that one meeting where you approved the manhole, 2,000 for manhole lids, you put in 3,000 for Spencer. I just didn't want to muddy the waters with, so.
So now the park's got a grant, or the library got a grant though for internet.
For the Wi-Fi,
Is that going to help get it?
well, it's not so much, it's the monthly cost.
Oh,
At the scout cabin, it makes a ton of sense. You have events there, your different festivals are had there, logging show. That made more sense to us, and there's a structure to mount it to and already electrical and everything. Spencer's kind of a different story, and I'd have to bring that information back with you, but it felt cost prohibitive, and who's using it there? How many times a year are they using it, right? So that was the tricky thing. If that's the only thing precluding us from cameras, then maybe we go that route. If we can get cameras that have their own little satellite cell phone version of a uploader, then maybe we don't pay the $300 a month or whatever the commercial rate would be for internet at a park because that's the other thing is they said, well, you can get this rate, but this is the footprint it will broadcast to. So if you're really trying to get it across Spencer Park, it's a big rate to broadcast that far because it's not hardwired into a structure like that. So I can bring you guys back that information when we get the information on the pop and play cameras and bring it back all at the same time and say, here's our options. Cheap cameras and hardwired and Wi-Fi that we're continuously paying for, or a little bit more expensive cameras, pop and play.
yeah, and like we discussed, they'll sell their cameras, might fit our bill too.
Yeah.
They get cell coverage down there.
Yeah.
Give them alerts, but it'd be a little more, I mean, they got cloud storage and everything, but you'll run into costs there for every picture there, so.
Well, and then that's the other thing too, is depending on what system we put in, I'm discussing with Wendy what elements our 20,000 for the skate park will be putting in. And we're not close to $20,000 yet. Does that make sense? I mean, 2 light poles and a couple benches, we got some money. So maybe that's whatever portion that is that isn't met over here by the bathrooms. We use a little bit of that if we have it left over to pay for that too. So
That's what I was thinking.
we could have a few pots of money contributing to the camera issue.
Yeah.
Down there.
If memory serves me correctly, the way the cameras came up was we were having so much problems with the restroom destruction.
Right, and that's when Chief found.
Came back with a price for a couple thousand for that. And then I think we said, well, we better do the skate park too before it's built.
Yeah, and
plan with it, right?
And that'll buy the $1,000 camera sets like we have here at City Hall, but that's planning on a hardwire.
Well, maybe the hardwire stuff is what the ARPA fund could pay for if we go that route.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think there's a few pots when we get down to, just presenting you guys with, here's what it's going to be every month forever if we do a hardwire, and this is the broadcast area, or here's, just pitch those 3 options. But I did want to talk to Chief and the Officer Hasenkamp, who started a security business, and see what he has for the pop and play version. The hardwires are nice, but when you go, if you're not on site reviewing it, it takes forever to upload. Like someone will say, we think something happened at 8 a.m. So we load into the screen and we're like waiting. It takes forever to download seconds. If you're on site, you're right there by the hard drive. So you can instantly pop to the yellow areas. You see activity, right? Like when we had the issue at Hawkins where someone was dumping the garbage back into the garbage can and taking the plastic bag. Okay. Tim's like, I want to know who's doing this because it was really infuriating to him. And I said, let's just line the cans, leave a folded bag on top, which seemed to stop the problem. But we could just go to each little spot where we saw activity and look and just, so there is benefits, pros and cons to the hardwired too.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good comparison to see, because I agree, other than the cameras, there's really no desire to have available there.
No, I mean, the kids, if they're on their cell phones, they're using cellular data there anyway. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great for festivals to be able to use a square, but most people are doing that on a hotspot anyway. So there's not very many days down there that you need Wi-Fi broadcast at all times. The parking lot might be like a hangout spot for people that want to get off their cellular data or go open on the Wi-Fi the way they do the library.
Just for the library.
Right? Just park in the library parking lot.
See, the lights were on.
Yeah.
Was it burnt out or?
No. So Tim felt like maybe the kids needed a couple nights off with their damage that they were causing, and little to us, we didn't know that he had flipped the switch on the timer for them not to kick on. We thought it was the power outage. He was just like, the amount of damage that's been happening there is full on toilet paper rolls over everything. They set one toilet seat on fire. But then we were figuring what we think happened is when the power went out, it popped the timer. So they were open for a period of time. There's nothing that triggers, hey, is that locked at 9 o'clock? And so we figure in those 2 power outage days, they were open that whole night. So people had a option of getting in there and causing mayhem again, which I don't know why it's fun. That wouldn't be fun to me, but it's fun to somebody. We told Tim, if you're infuriated next time, don't turn out the lights. Just talk to us. We will talk you off the edge. Well, we understand the feeling.
Any other questions for the city administrator?
Just an update. We were talking about pulling the beautification from the CBDG grant, or not CBD, the grant that we got for downtown beautification. And we're talking about if it was done or not.
Yeah.
I remember the drip lines aren't done and the timers.
Timers.
Yeah, there's going to be a timer.
Oh, the timer's already it's in line there, but the line from the box to the thing, no. Those do have to be done.
Completed that or tested it or anything, so.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't pull.
So that's definitely on the list. Do you want it back on the project list? Make you feel better?
Well, I'm just saying, it's something that's not done and we need to do this.
Or just add it as its own thing, separate from travel, but street pulled drip lines.
Yeah.
Testing.
And do we have funds still to buy the?
We've purchased all of it. Everything that would go into it, we've purchased.
For the plants that we put in.
Oh,
Here.
well, there's.
Coming out of the budget?
No, so there will be a little bit of funds for the ones that trail, the pretty kind of nasturtiums and stuff, but all of them, each basket has 5 sedums in that are going to just keep growing over time. So we'd probably pull those out, reconfigure it, get the pretty ones that trail the flowering ones. Yeah, so that's a budget expense that we'll have to do for spring. But I thought you were talking about drip lines. We have all of that. We have all the backflow device. We have the drip line tubing, timer. Everything is purchased for the whole project. So just not flowers.
Well, and my wife wanted to ask why they were clear at the top of the pole. She thinks they're too high, so I said,
People don't hit them.
Yeah, so most of the banners, bears, and things went out of the line of how tall a log truck with stacks would be if it pulled up next to it.
those were sticking out this way though, right? Flowers are back.
Oh, I guess you could bring them down.
It seemed a little high, but I don't know.
Yeah, if you bring them down, you'd have to bring them, I'll probably do a tester. And Julie can drive by and see if it looks good, because you'll have to come completely under the the mechanism where the plug is and the little ring. Right now, they're straddling that, but they'll have to come completely below it the other way. So we can do a tester.
It'd be hard to see the flowers up that high.
It's a trail, but it's not.
Yeah.
I have to find the happy medium between them being low enough to see it and high enough that people can't
I understand.
rip them off.
Yeah, I got the box truck thing, but that was because this stuff sticks out past the curb. I don't
Yeah.
know flowers.
That's why we'll have to see.
We'll do the one in front of City Hall and see what it looks like.
Yeah, there you go. Make the boys do the tester. Basket test. Got it.
A little lower, a little higher. Seemed like they're a foot.
They're foot too high?
Foot, it seemed like to me too.
Well, maybe you could totally come underneath that thing with a foot. I'd have to have the guys measure it.
Okay, anything else? We'll move on to items from the mayor and councilors. Any councilors have any?
Only thing I have is, if we have any questions for next Monday's meeting, the sidewalk gutter curb paving discussion, we need to get those to staff.
Volume and internet died on my end.